sum up, Mayo Pete is out. Amy Klobuchar is out. Mike Bloomberg is out. The coronavirus is still in.
Potentially, and all of those who are out.
Potentially.
They've been traveling around the country, shaking hands. You know, Elizabeth Warren and her selfie lines. She's hugging people. Who knows, having her a beer with them, maybe. And there hasn't been any really serious testing going on, so who knows? That number jump and people are going to freak the hell out.
Dr. Drew has been fantastic on this. By the way, it's the Enough Already podcast. I'm Fingers, she's Tracy. We can start with the coronavirus. Yeah, Dr. Drew has been all over this. Just nailing the media over its coverage because they've got everybody in a panic. And while we need to take this virus seriously and acknowledge that it's going to have a significant economic impact on the globe, at the same time, when you put it in perspective with things like the flu's already killed what I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think he said 2,400 people so far in the United States.
I heard 10,000 this year.
Is it 10,000 already?
Who knows? Let's just make it. It's 25 million.
Doesn't matter.
It's more than the coronavirus has, or at least as far as we know.
Right. But if you already see what's happening, the reaction to it, people, I've got friends, I believe there's a case in San Antonio, a documented case of the coronavirus, and a buddy of mine went to Costco in San Antonio, out of paper towel, out of toilet paper.
Those are the things you cannot live without. Toilet paper, I understand. But you'd think there would be food shelves just empty, but no.
No. And I went to Costco a few nights ago. And listen, you always should have at least 3 weeks worth of food on hand, just in case. I went to Costco and noticed things like the giant bags of rice gone. You know, I'm not talking about, it's a 3-pound bag. I'm talking about the 12-pound bags of rice that you have to throw over your shoulder to put in the cart. Gone. You're seeing hand sanitizer being sold at a premium. And I don't know about you, but I have stepped up my game with the hand sanitizer. I mean, companies are sending out corporate-wide emails telling their employees to wash their hands. What a time to be alive. I was at the Conservative Political Action Conference last week, CPAC, and I ran into more than one individual who had a whole bottle of hand sanitizer with the pump on it.
Why not? Just shameless.
So I think you need to take this seriously, but you have to be conscious of the fact that from everything that I have read, and I'm sure you'll probably back me up on this, Tracy, if you are a relatively healthy individual whose immune system has not been compromised, you may catch this and not even know you have it.
Correct.
And then it'll clear. You don't need to buy gas masks and prepare for the apocalypse.
Well, unless you want to sell that stuff on eBay to the paranoid. So,
are you changing your behavior?
I'm washing my hands way more than I used to. And I was at an event last night and I was dreading having to shake people's hands. But thankfully I avoided that whole nonsense. And it was nice because it was a pretty cool event. And I'm not sure if they have this in Indiana or not. But it's called What's So Cool About Manufacturing. And it started in my county. And what they do is pair a team of 8th graders and their teacher with a manufacturing company. Mm-hmm. And they teach the teacher how to shoot video, record sound, edit, all that stuff. And then the kids go in, figure out what angle they want to take presenting this business and showing what aspect of it is cool to them. And then they create these videos. They go online. I think they said in the last 3 days, they have online voting for all these different categories of these things. They had 140,000 votes in the last 3 days of the voting thing.
Oh, wow.
It's wild. So they do this big kind of like Academy Awards type ceremony for these kids. And my company participated in it a couple years ago. And I was thinking, oh, we should probably do it again next year. So I should make an appearance and see what's going on. And it's cool. Like, I didn't realize Mrs. T's Pierogies is right here in my county. Do you guys have those in the Midwest, right? Pierogies?
Yes, but I've never heard of Mrs. T's.
Super famous brand. It's probably the biggest brand here. It's like the only name brand in the stores.
Oh, okay.
So it was cool. And, they had little booths out, all the companies that were there that had participated. And one of them is actually a customer of ours. So I stopped by to say hello to them. And they had little spray sanitizers that look like a pen, which I had never seen before. So I was like, can I take a bunch of these? And they're like, yeah, sure. The whole time I sat in the back of the auditorium. Like, I'm trying to be as far away from everybody as possible. Washed my hands, I think 2 times while I was there, and used that spray intermittently. So
I had some spray hand sanitizer that was shaped like a credit card. A little pump spray.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Convenient.
It was convenient, but I'm hoping that if there's one positive that comes out of this is that we eliminate the handshake altogether. And
you don't like the handshake?
We just fist bump.
Okay.
Fist bump. Let's go with the fist bump.
I think the elbow is better than the fist bump. There's a lot less. Like, you're not going to put your elbow in your eye.
That's true.
It's still your hand.
But I find it fascinating that in 2020, companies have to send emails out to their employees to make sure that they wash their hands. Like, their entire company is like a restaurant bathroom. But
it could be a CYA thing from the insurance company. Like, I don't know if you've gotten any. Who knows? It's like, have you sent out this warning to your employees? Because if you're not, you could have a workman's comp claim. Like, if one of them gets sick, who knows? I don't know. I wonder if there's some legal aspect going on with that.
Well, I think that when you get on the highway and you see the signs, the flashing signs that tell you to fasten your seatbelt, click it or ticket. You also have on there, wash your fucking hands.
Yeah. But how many of these? I've seen at least 2 examples, one being AOC and another, I don't know who it was, some woman giving a press conference. It might have been a CDC employee or something like that. And they were talking about, precautions to take, including washing your hands and don't touch your face. And in the AOC video, she had just come out of a briefing about the virus. And so it's a press gaggle and they're asking her what's going on. And she's literally sitting there the whole time, like, doing this while she's explaining. She's like, wash your hands. And she goes, the way you're supposed to, happy birthday twice. And I'm like, if people don't know what you're saying, you sound even stupider than normal. Yes, you're supposed to wash your hands for the length it would take you to sing the happy birthday song twice. That's what
I have never heard that before.
Yeah. Well, this is how they teach children. So now adults are being inculcated with this. But then she goes, and they also said, don't touch her face. She's like, it's literally, and within 5 seconds, she touches her face like 10 times. And
I'm not worried about it, though, because I have elitist medicine. I get the good stuff.
Well, you also wear glasses. Mm-hmm. So you're not tempted to touch your eyeballs, which is another no. But, this other woman I saw, she's giving this talk, and she's got a stack of papers. And she reads the paper about washing your hands and not touching things and touching your face. And then she goes to turn the page. It's just like, oh, my God. And then there's our licky fingers, Mike Bloomberg. So disgusting. What a troll.
Can we talk about how he spent $400 million on that pizza and coffee video? Essentially is what he did. Because if you look at the delegate count, he did earn 53 delegates.
Oh, good for him. That's more than Elizabeth Warren, right?
Yes, that's more than Elizabeth. No. Elizabeth Warren has earned 61 delegates.
Good for her.
Mayo Pete, I almost slipped there, 26. Amy Klobuchar, 7, and our good friend Tulsi Gabbard won. One delegate.
For her.
In American Samoa. So
they pulled through for her.
Yes. But for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there was a video of Mike Bloomberg that went viral, and for some reason, someone thought it would be a good idea to watch Mayor Bloomberg be folksy like the rest of us. He's just like one of us, Tracy, is what he is.
Yes.
And so he reaches into a box of pizza because I'm sure he eats pizza all the time, like the folks. It's really relatable. and he reached into the box, and it appears as though he just tore some crust off and ate that, or he tore the pizza off and left the crust. Either way, he's an animal. To me, that's as bad as Trump putting ketchup on a steak.
Oh, it's way worse than that. Trump putting ketchup on the steak only hurts Trump.
Yeah. And, it hurts my feelings. Because I'm guessing he'll get like a really nice New York strip and then put Heinz 57 on it. Come on, man.
That's not ketchup. Oh, I'm thinking, doesn't Heinz also have I'm thinking A1 steak sauce.
No, you shouldn't even put steak sauce on a steak, but that's acceptable. The ketchup? Well, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So, Mayor Bloomy, Licky Fingers, as you like to call him, reaches into the box, tears off some pizza, puts it in his mouth, and then proceeds to lick all 10 fingers. I'm not mistaken. He licks the hand that he ate the pizza with, and I'm pretty sure he put his other hand in just for kicks.
Yeah.
In his mouth.
I've got the video up.
Oh, okay. So if you're watching the Enough Already podcast on YouTube or BitChute, Tracy is going to play it for you right now so you can...
And if not, if you're playing along at home, just listening, you can just go on Twitter and search Bloomberg fingers, and it's the very first thing that comes up is this disgusting video of him.
So he's reaching in there.
Oh, then I'm going to lick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that was the left hand.
Oh, he did a double lick.
And he touches the lid of the coffee that's sitting next to the pizza after the lick.
Yeah, with his licky fingers.
Yes.
Now, this is a lazy take, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, Tracy. There was video of Trump doing that. Oh, how can he lead us through this pandemic with such awful behavior? What kind of leader is he?
He's an infamous germaphobe, Trump. He's like, what's that guy's name? Harvey... Why can't I think? The Deal or No Deal. Howie.
Oh, Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel. Super germaphobe, and I think Trump beats him. No, well, Trump tweeted about this,
Oh, he did? About licky fingers?
Yeah, I'm scrolling to find it, because it was very funny. He's been dunking on him all day. This is so much fun.
He has been sitting back. He's been trolling everybody for the last week. She's trolled Bernie.
That's what he does.
He congratulated Bernie, but then he left that little nugget at the end, a little, planting the seed. Hey, Bernie, don't let him screw you. And then you had, right before Super Tuesday, Mayo Pete and Amy Klobuchar back out. Couldn't even wait till Super. They did it on Manic Monday before Super Tuesday. I mean, what harm would there have been to wait until after Super Tuesday?
If the harm would have been Biden wouldn't have won.
To them, they should have stayed in. Make it look like the fix wasn't in, but boy, oh boy,
care about that? Come on now, we knew they were going to screw Bernie Sanders. We just figured it wouldn't be until the convention.
Right. So here you have currently Bernie is, let's see. Biden has 566 delegates. Bernie has 501. Elizabeth Warren, who came in third in her home state of Massachusetts yesterday.
It's unbelievable.
That just proves my theory that she is less likable than Hillary Clinton.
Do you think so?
Yes.
I find her to be a little bit more likable. She doesn't strike me as like a cold, dead, a sociopath. Let's just say that.
Well, I don't know. Hillary won her 4 home states in the primary.
Yeah.
To come in third, Tracy, in Massachusetts, it's humiliating. I think at that point you have to re-examine everything if you're her.
But she's still hanging in for some reason.
Well, they announced earlier on Wednesday, and that's when we're recording the show the day after Super Tuesday, that they were going to have a powwow in the campaign teepee to figure out whether they should go on or not. So maybe someone will whisper in her ear, and by someone I mean, well, you see, but if she backs out, that's going to help Bernie. I think that would be the conventional wisdom, wouldn't it? That it would help Bernie.
Conventional wisdom, but I don't know that that's true. I think that those two ships have separated now. If you were on Twitter at all today, looking at the talk, the trending hashtags were like Bernie or bust, and what was it, rigged primary or rigged? I can't remember what it was, but
do you really believe that
it's rigged?
Well, no. We all know it's rigged. But listen, the hardcore Bernie bros, I get that they won't go along with it. But there's something about a candidate at the convention, and if they give a fantastic speech at the convention, it can kind of rally the troops.
Mm-hmm.
I could see where that could happen if it weren't Joe Biden doing it.
Well, here's what you're not taking into account. And I don't know that the Democrats have. I would think some of the more crafty and evil ones might have. Mm-hmm. This Burisma stuff is not dead. The Ukrainians have launched an investigation into it. And who was it? Ron, I can't think of his name. For the
Jeremy?
Senator, no. Oh, man. From Wisconsin, I believe he is. Anyway, Republican senator announced that they're subpoenaing the law firm that was involved with Burisma and all this stuff. So it's over that whole scandal. So could it be that somebody very crafty is setting Joe Biden up to make it through this, collect enough delegates to get over the hump? Then we get to the convention and he falls apart because he's under this huge cloud of suspicion, or it's even more of it's been exposed and people are done with him. I mean, the only thing the Bernie people can pray for is that investigation at this point. Watch them start digging.
Along with their allies at the Kremlin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I heard that this morning on Morning Joe. I almost doubled over in laughter this morning because I knew they were going to be in epic form. So I tuned in, and they have, I don't know if you're familiar with the reoccurring cast of characters on Morning Joe, Joe, Mika, and Willie. Well, they have this guy, John Meacham. Mm-hmm. And he's a presidential historian, so he's always very serious. And they always go to him, what are the insights that you have from history, John, history? So they're talking about Biden's massive comeback, and they're all thrilled about that, of course, because they hate Bernie Sanders.
Right.
But they haven't gotten fired over it yet. Other anchors on that network. So John Meacham says, and I kid you not, I'm not going to phrase it exactly, but the word that matters the most came out of his mouth. No joke. Joe Biden is the most coherent answer to Trump. I have the TV on in my living room, and I'm in my bathroom getting my hair did by myself. Uh-huh. And I hear that, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, should I run out, rewind it, clip it for YouTube? I mean, my God, coherent? Like, did he really just say Joe Biden is the coherent answer to Donald Trump?
Did you see him yesterday where he got his wife and his sister mixed up?
Yes. That's why I can't believe this man who's taken with all seriousness by the morning panel, because he's this august scholar, saying Joe Biden is coherent. Attaching that word to him at all is just a big mistake.
I think he is still capable of giving a scripted speech in front of a convention. It's the second he goes off script.
I don't know. He's got that stutter that turns itself off and on at whim.
It's true.
Which I'm sure we're going to start hearing even more about.
I mean, and the creepiness factor is still at a 9. He can't reel that in. Another video that went viral on Wednesday was he was at it appeared to be a restaurant or a library. I don't know. He was mingling with voters and someone had their baby and he stuck his face next to the baby and sniffed the baby's hair again. It's almost like he's trying to suck the youth out of the infant in some way.
Okay, who gets coronavirus first? Biden, Sanders, or Trump?
Oh, listen. It's Biden. I think Sanders is very much like the character that Larry David played in that Saturday Night Live skit. Burn Your Enthusiasm, where he's playing Bernie on the campaign trail. He's like, I don't want you just coughed in your hand. I can't shake the cough hand. I can't.
Well, it's interesting to me that none of them are taking increased precautions and like stepping back the amount of rallies they're doing or anything. It shows you this is all nonsense when the Democrats are going out and being like, oh my God, Trump doesn't care about this at all. Meanwhile, they didn't push back the primaries, which what is a voting booth but not a germ facility? You're going in, I don't know about where you are, but we have like a little curtain and then you got to touch this thing to do your stuff. That's not getting sanitized. You got to sign that somebody else just touched.
It's got to be as filthy as a stripper pole.
Yes, if not worse. And I had heard reports in the morning that Texas polling places were having trouble with staff not showing up, people that had volunteered to man the polls because they were afraid of being exposed. It's like, yeah, no shit. How many thousands of people are coming through this?
Yeah.
And California had their primary yesterday. They have a couple known cases. So for each known case, how many unknowns are there?
So, yeah, you have to wonder how that's going to affect the polls or the primaries moving forward. The economy in general. I mean, I think you should live your life. Mm-hmm. Just take a few extra precautions. Like I said, I've got my hand sanitizer, a full bottle in my car. I'm hitting it all the time when I'm getting in and out. But I don't think it should stop you from traveling. I don't think it should stop you from going out in public. You just have to take a few more precautions. If you've got contacts, you wear contacts, but you also have glasses. You know what? Wear your glasses out in public. Leave the contacts at home. Keep you from putting your hands in your eyes.
Yeah, I'm not with you on the traveling thing.
No?
I just don't want to get stuck somewhere if there's a panic. Like, my biggest worry in all of this is other people freaking out.
Yeah.
The ripple effects from that. So if all of a sudden I was somewhere aside from my home or close enough to get back and they were like, oh, this is on lockdown, nobody can leave, I don't want to be in that position.
Right.
So I'm going to stand still for a little bit on that one. I don't trust other people to behave rationally with this kind of thing. And as far as other things, I mean, it's like I try to look at it as obstacles and opportunities, and the obstacles are other people potentially. Like, I feel like I've pretty much secured what I need to have to feel comfortable enough to be like, yeah, if the store shelves get emptied, I'm fine. I'll make it. I'll be all right. We got food, water, all those things. Good to go. But opportunity wise, I mean, our phones are ringing off the hook. It's crazy. And we're getting requests for quotes from Europe and Africa and all this. And I look at and I'm like, wow, these people were buying cheap, shitty Chinese stuff.
Right.
And now that supply is cut off.
But how is that affecting your business?
It's positively affecting us. We're getting requests to quote jobs for them.
Well, I get that part of it's positive, but has your supply chain been interrupted at all?
We had a rule in place. We buy only one thing from China, and that's prototype molds for stuff. Otherwise, nothing that we have comes from China.
Smart. And that's what's going to be very interesting when we get past this is, are you going to see corporations deciding, hey, if we had a contingency plan, it failed, either are we going to have better contingency plans in place, or are we just going to decide it is not a good idea to put all of our eggs in one basket?
Right. Well, you should never do that to begin with.
No, you shouldn't, but a lot of companies have over the years.
Well, in cases you don't have a choice.
Right. That's true. I've seen where people have said that there are certain TV manufacturers that, while they don't manufacture their televisions in China, they get some of the components from China. So you may see a shortage of TVs coming from Asia. Even if they aren't made in China. You're going to see automotive manufacturers not being able to figure out how to replace, say, alternators that are made in China. You can't just snap your fingers. It's not like baking cookies.
Well, my understanding is that since the Japanese and the Chinese are not the best of friends, that Toyota has total control over its supply chain.
Well, good for Toyota.
And I don't know about the South Koreans, what their deal is. So as far as any car coming out of there, what do they get? Kias and...
Yes. But...
Is that it?
Yeah, Volkswagen, I believe, has a large footprint in China. General Motors has a large footprint in China. General Motors imports full vehicles from China.
Right. And even they have some manufacturing in Mexico, right? But how many of the component parts are coming in from China?
That's a question that we're going to get the answer to quite soon. If you see people wanting to get their cars repaired, you saw this during the General Motors strike, where, one of the impacts of that strike was that people could not get their cars repaired because there was a shortage of replacement parts. You may be seeing that moving forward, or we've talked about it on previous episodes, where come April, we're going to start seeing some empty shelves at Walmart. Products, it's amazing how Walmart made the transformation from everything was made in America to a lot of it's Chinese crap because people want to save a buck.
That's the whole Walmart business model, though.
Right. It never used to be that way. It was made in America. Walmart, made in America. And if you're old enough to remember that, you're probably not, Tracy, but there's a time where so much of what was made or was sold in Walmart was made in America, not so much anymore. So you can take it seriously. You need to take it seriously, especially if your immune system has been compromised, if you're older, or if you have cancer. You need to... We all need to take extra precautions, but you really need to be concerned if you have a medical condition that will make it tough for you to fight this virus off. But having said that, if we go back to... We actually have to cut this short. We still have some time, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about moving forward what is happening in the Democratic presidential primary polling, Tracy. The latest poll out of Michigan has Biden up 29 to 23 over Bernie Sanders.
Where's the other third?
Bloomberg 11 dropped out. Buttigieg 6 dropped out. Klobuchar 3 dropped out. Elizabeth Warren's polling at 7%.
Okay.
In Michigan. Another poll today that was released. Obviously, the polling was done before all the dropouts. In the national presidential poll, Biden 28, Sanders 24, Bloomberg 11, Warren 19. Buttigieg 7, Klobuchar 4, Gabbard 2. So, and it's looking now like Tulsi Gabbard will not be allowed on stage at the next debate.
Of course not.
Which is just amazing that why the Democrats want to exclude a woman of color.
The only person of color left in the whole race.
Amazing.
And the youngest person still running for president.
Absolutely amazing. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward. I do have to say that at first I didn't think that Biden would offer the biggest challenge to Trump, but I actually think he will. Out of Biden's Sanders, because for some reason, and I need to sit down with the African American community, Tracy, to better understand this. I'm told that they really love Joe Biden, and that particularly in South Carolina, the black vote put him over the top. And one of the things we're hearing is that Trump has really improved his standing in the African American community, and he may get a significant black vote in 2016. But if Joe Biden's the nominee, will the African Americans will they make the leap, and will you see the black vote move a little bit towards Trump, or will it stay solidly in Democratic hands?
It's a tough call. I don't know. I think Trump will get a larger percentage of the black vote than he did in 2016. I think he had 8%. I definitely think he'll get into double digits.
Which could be enough right there. It depends on how many suburban white women that Trump loses, because that's been another narrative out there that, he's losing the suburbanites.
Yeah.
He's losing them.
Effective.
I saw someone on Facebook post today that there's a silent majority out there waiting to usher in a Biden administration because they're sick and tired of having to explain to their children why the President of the United States is such a vulgar man. And I got to tell you, Tracy, while I roll my eyes when Trump swears up on stage and I'm next to my 10-year-old, you know what I do like? I like the tax cut that I got.
Yeah.
So am I supposed to be all warm and fuzzy that creepy Uncle Joe won't swear at the podium, but he'll raise my taxes?
Do we know that he won't swear at the podium?
He's done it before. It's a big effing deal.
I never believe these people that are like, I have to explain such and such to my children. No, you don't. I don't picture these little kids being like, Mommy, why did he say a bad word on TV? You just say, because he's an asshole. It's that simple. Well, you say, I'm not allowed to say that, but the president is. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid. Adults are allowed to do that stuff.
Yeah, there's been a rash of profane teenagers ever since Donald Trump became president of the United States. It's out of control.
Right, but I don't know that Biden poses as much of a challenge. The debates are going to be hilarious. So we're basically guaranteed now, unless they pull the old switcheroo and get Joe, kind of disqualified with all this scandal hanging over his head. But if that doesn't play out, then we get either Bernie on stage with Trump or Biden on stage with Trump in the fall.
Well, and damn well.
Popcorn time, yeah.
Yeah, and damn well they're going to feed Biden the questions ahead of time.
Oh, they have to. They have to make sure that he's prepared. They can't allow him to wander. They're going to sit there and rehearse every single syllable for 2 weeks leading up to these debates with him.
And the worst part of it is, I don't know if that's going to help him or hurt him. If it's information overload, he may tilt.
Yeah. Well, and Trump's just going to be like, look, dude, you've had a brain. Didn't he have an aneurysm, was it? years ago. I mean, he's not going to pull punches with this. He's going to be like, look at this guy. He's got mashed potato brains. You really want to put him on in the Oval Office and let him run all his scammy deals and pay his family all kinds of money? Come on, like he's going to hold back on that.
Well, and here's the deal too. He's been getting softball questions in the debate, in the debate so far, and he's been treated with respect. Trump isn't going to sit there and listen to Joe Biden say that we've had 500 million people die in gun-related violence since 2007 without saying, wait, are you out of your mind?
It was only 150 million.
Oh, it was 150 million? I apologize.
I know you were at CPAC, but I know you don't watch any of the speeches, but I watched Trump's speech from CPAC, and it's the best comic stand-up hour I've seen in the last 6 months. And he had a whole bit about that, like watching that and seeing him say that. And he's like, I turned to the first lady and I said, 150 million people got killed by guns last year? He's like, I know the media is terrible, but holy hell, they didn't report that. What is going on? This is out of control. I should probably do something about this. But I think Biden's biggest stumbling block is nobody is supporting Biden because he's Biden. It's all about beating Trump.
Yes.
People vote for stuff, not against stuff, with more enthusiasm. So who's going to be more animated to go out? And I mean, people are turning out in the primaries to vote for Trump in huge numbers. It's wild. It's like people are going to go stand in line in Texas yesterday to vote for Trump in the primary. It doesn't even matter.
I can see where there will be some sort of nostalgia vote for him because, he was Obama's vice president, and, I have a warm place in my heart for Uncle Joe, but you're right. He is going to be the compromise candidate. And will the compromise candidate be able to bring out the passion in the electorate to wait in line for 2 hours next to a bunch of virus infected people?
Right. Because we don't know how long that's going to be with us.
No, I mean, we're already talking about canceling the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. But, again, I don't think you should alter your, you should live your life. You should be careful, but you should still do things. But one thing you shouldn't do is go to Milwaukee for the Democratic National Convention, because if they screw Bernie Sanders over, Milwaukee will burn. And I am not making light of that because I think it's very serious and it could be very ugly. And I think if you were able to pump truth serum into local law enforcement in Milwaukee, they would tell you that they are very, very concerned over it being a powder keg in Milwaukee.
They should be. Philly was bad. And that was just the first time they screwed Sanders over.
Right.
Now we're going to do it again with the same type of candidate, like some, according to the far left, some tame moderate who's corrupt as hell and everybody knows it. So what's the difference between Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton? A tie and a bridge?
Yeah.
And I mean the teeth kind of bridge, not the Brooklyn kind.
I don't know. This is just a fantastic time to be alive. You had Donna Brazile tell the RNC chair to go to hell on national television, which, by the way, coincidentally, the DNC is telling to Bernie Bros. Go to hell.
Yep. No, I'm trying to pull up the current returns from our favorite young Turk, Cenk Uygur. Everybody remembers that he's running for Congress. And he's so popular and everybody loves him. And when I checked earlier today, 55% of the precincts had reported. And what did he have? 4% of the votes?
He's
Something
barely
like
beating Milk at this point.
2 Republicans did better than him. And California has that jungle primary system, as they call it, where it's the top two, no matter which party, go on to the election in the fall. So he's
I think
in third place.
That could be a seat that flips too, because if you, unless people do not want to rally around the Republican candidate in that district, I believe the two Republican candidates beat the Democratic candidate by double digits, and then you had the Young Turk there at 4%.
Yeah, I can't. I'll keep looking for it. But oh my God, that made me laugh. Because I thought maybe that idiot could win a seat, and that would just be awful.
But I think people really resent the carpetbagger, and you have to. I think people outside of maybe people outside of the district are the ones who resent carpetbaggers more than the people in the district, I guess, because I still can't get over that Mitt Romney was able to go to Utah and win an election. There were no capable Republicans living in Utah. Really? In freaking Utah, that you had to carpetbag old Mitt Romney in there and run in Utah? New York, the way the Democratic Party in the state of New York laid down for Hillary Clinton. No capable Democrats in New York? Really?
Nope.
It's maddening. So I think if you're in that district and the Young Turk dude says, "Hey, I'm gonna swoop in and be a congressman," I don't know, man. I'd say piss off. And apparently many people in that district said piss off.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, and I also think people overestimate people that are super into politics, like it's their favorite sport, that there are celebrities that exist in that world that you tend to think have a higher profile than they actually do. So
and
how many people know who he is?
Right. There's that, too. I mean, if you polled 10 people on the Vegas Strip and said, "Who's Cenk Unger?" you may get one person who would know who he is. Maybe. If you're lucky. But political nerds know who he is.
Yeah.
So, well, I hate to cut this short, Tracy. Usually we like to go at least an hour, but I have to measure my backyard with like a ruler, a yardstick, a tape measure, and pencils. Okay. So
you got some Stone Age bullshit going on over there, finger.
Right. So we're going to have to wrap this up. Remember, you can catch the Enough Already podcast where all fine podcasts are sold. Look us up on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star review. That'll get people to see the Enough Already podcast on Apple iTunes. I still want to call it iTunes. Apple Podcasts.
Everybody will always call it that.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
But there are plenty of places on Android devices where you can find us, including TuneIn and SoundCloud. So we're everywhere. And, of course, you can find us on YouTube and BitChute. Final thoughts, Tracy?
Well, I just assume that if people are already listening to the show, they've somehow managed to find it.
Yes, but if you leave reviews on the Apple Podcasts and more reviews are on there, that gets...
No, I know. But then you always say, like, these are all the places you can find us. It's like, well, we should just say, hey, congratulations for finding us on one of the 5 platforms where we're featured. Maybe you should point your friends in the direction of those platforms.
You know what?
Wealth of knowledge that we provide every week with them.
Well, damn it, Tracy, you wrap the show up from now on.
I think I will.
Okay, you do that. All right, she's Tracy. I'm Fingers. We will be back next week with an all new Enough Already. As I'm moving my head around.
Well, and it's also everything went out of whack again. So at the very end there, you get really big, and then I fixed it. So this is why I can't wrap up the show.
Bye-bye.
Bye.